All right, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over creating an automated sequence, or basically we're going to automate to sequence. We're going to create a simple slideshow using some basic images, and we're going to create a slideshow using automate to sequence. Now, originally we've probably done this in our basic classes where you bring some images in, you add some transitions and things like that. We're going to use markers to set up our start and stop point for every single image. And we're going to see how that works using automate to sequence in Adobe Premiere. Let's check it out. All right, so here we are in Premiere, and I've got everything set up and laid out for our project, or for my project. One thing I've got going on here is in my project panel, you can see I'm in my editing mode. In my project panel, I've got my music that I brought in, and I've got a bin here with photos, and then of course my slideshow, which is my sequence. So I went ahead and created a new sequence, right? And I chose DSLR, or digital SLR 1080p 24 frames a second, and gave it a name and clicked OK. Okay, so that's how I created my sequence. We all know how to create a sequence by now. And so now we're going to go ahead and let's see here. So I've got my photos, I've got my audio. I brought my audio into the timeline, into the new timeline, and I went ahead and already cut this up. So I have a nice start and a nice clean ending here. I used the ending of my song to cut that up. Now what I'm going to do is use the M key on my keyboard. M as in Mary. And every so often I'm going to go ahead and place a marker on my timeline. So I'm going to go ahead and place a marker. So starting at 0, let me hit M. You always want to start with 1 on there, and you want nothing selected because you want the markers to fall up here. You don't want them down in the clip. You want them up here. So I'm going to hit M. There we go. See, it's right there. And now I'm just going to hit spacebar to play, and every so often I'm going to hit the letter M, or marker, which is this icon right here. Here we go. So I've got my markers set. You see I've got here 9 or 10 markers laid out. So how are we going to use that? Well, let's take a look. In my photos, let's open up my photos. And here I've got a bunch of photos of my wife and I walking our dogs from a few different years and things. So I'm going to go ahead and select these. Now, how I select them, I can just select one and hold down the Control key and select them in any order I want. Okay, it doesn't really matter what order I want them. I select them in. You know, I could say, I want that one there. Maybe I don't want this one. Maybe I'm going to end with this one. Okay. So I just selected them in a random order that I wanted them to go into the video. And then I'm going to click down here at the bottom and say automate to sequence. And this little window pops up, automate to sequence. Your order could be selection order, the sort order, meaning sort order is alphabetical order, however they're sorted. But since I already selected them in a specific order, I can click selection order. And then to slideshow. So this is coming from the project panel, my selection order. Going into the slideshow placement, I could say sequentially or at numbered markers. Well, let me try sequentially and see what happens. And it's going to say clip overlap 30 frames. That's fine. And we'll leave everything else the same and we'll click OK. Let's see what happens. Well, first thing happens, it totally ignored my markers, right? And then if I zoom out here, it's all out here. Okay. So where you start with at the beginning is definitely important. You want to make your cursor all the way at 0. But you can see just by doing sequentially, they're all the same length, and they added a cross dissolve between every single one. That's not quite what we want, so let's go ahead and delete that. Bring our cursor back to the beginning, so it's at 0, 0. Let's try that again, but this time, let's click Automate to Sequence. And this time, we're going to, instead of saying sequentially, let's say at numbered markers. Okay. And then we'll click OK. Look what it did. Now, if I come in here, I'm going to zoom in, and you can see at every single marker, it cuts to the next one. Now, sometimes you might run into an issue where for some reason here, it decided, hey, I'm not going that far. So you just need to grab that right edge and bring it to the next image. So here's another one. Right, bring it over. For some reason, a few of these, they decided to not go the full length. So let's see what we've got. I'm going to quickly grab all of my images. I'm going to right click on it and say set to frame size. So now that they all fit within the image, right? And then there's that. Let's see if we can scale. See, it's at 28%. Let's see if I can scale it down even further. But that will be in the next lesson. We'll add a couple different things, animate, and then we'll just kind of clean this up and kick this out as a very quick and simple slideshow. I'll see you in the next video.